Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again with a very large video to update you on all of the endgame for the Forbidden Rite poison character. I ended up throwing him against pretty much everything possible and killed almost all of the Ubers. Didn't really try too hard on either of Worlds, just did him like once or twice while I was doing the self-chill setup, and then didn't try him again since. But that brings me to the first point. I did end up dropping the self-chill setup, as I was kind of like alluding to in the previous video. It is very fast, it's zoomy, and it's pretty fun. But overall, the effectiveness of the character, I think, goes up a good amount if you put on actual life gain on hit rings. Yeah, that's just kind of what I had to do in the end. And it was a little bit of work to get the life gain on hit rings. I made one with an Awakener orb, I made another through some harvest, and then changed gloves so that I could also have despair on hit on my ring, and then just have some normal gloves and free up a bit more sort of defense in the form of life on this character, because a higher life pool does really mean that you can face tank a lot more, since your sustain is pretty insane, and it's just about not getting one shot and much more about, you know, having the life pool to then bounce back up to full life almost immediately thanks to all the life gain on hit. So with the rings and the jewel in the end, I was something like 60 life gain on hit, 65, something like that. And yeah, I became a way thicker character, and what you're watching right now in the background was Flawless Chiula. So this is part of setting up the Feared fight, and this is Flawless Chiula Breachstone with Maven influence on it, and it was pretty cruisy, even with all the extra damage on it. Occultist pops carry this shit hard. Otherwise, yeah, when I swapped on to the life gain on hit setup and a bit more defense for life, the character got a lot slower without chill, I won't lie, but overall it still felt better with mapping, because I was just more or less face tanking everything comfortably and pretty much never dying, and that felt quite a bit nicer. So the character hit level 94, I think it was, in the end, and then I felt more confident going into a bunch of the boss fights and high-end content, the Ubers and the Feared and the Hidden, and you will get to see all of that throughout this video. At least little bits and pieces of some of the fights. A lot of them just aren't super worth going into huge detail because they're long and just a little bit more of the fight than usual, let's just say. So this is just Flawless Chiula with Maven on it. Typically a pretty hard fight for a normal character, but you know, in today's Uberland, it's nothing too special, and this character kind of forces you to get capped Chaos Res, so there's not too much too threatening from Chiula, except for his actual attacks, if there's some bad map mods on here. And there are, so he does extra damage from Fizz Fire, something like that, and yeah, it can hit pretty hard, but otherwise the sustain's pretty good, and my DPS is good once you can ramp, so the character does end up hitting something like 10 to 20 mil in DPS, but a lot of these Uber fights really force you to move around a lot, and that means you can't like have reliable, solid uptime of your DPS, and it's never really going to be what it should be unless you do have something that's passive, like an Ignite, for example. This isn't an Uber, this is just Eater of Worlds. I went challenge hunting as well, so I was trying to do a bunch of my challenges, conditional things like, you know, do Maven and Eater of Worlds and that sort of shit without getting hit by stuff, and under certain situations. So I did a bunch of that. This is just a regular Maven as well, once again on challenge hunting, and you can see that the DPS and the ramp is pretty nice against regular content. So like all of the regular bosses, the non-Ubers fall over extremely comfortably with this setup, and there's nothing terrifically special about it. Get some woke gems for supports and get them to level 5 if you can for even more DPS. So I was still missing maybe like 10 to 15% more damage on this character because I didn't get all my gems to level 5. Otherwise, yeah, there's nothing too special. My wand was good, and then just set up some life gain on hit. So in the end, the character's worth like 10, 15x if you put some work into it. And it does yield some pretty good results. For the Ubers though, that's when things do start to get a little bit more intense, and it seems to me like the bare minimum for a lot of these Uber fights is at least getting like spell suppress, or having, like, you got to be a kind of a hybrid of damage and defense, or go entirely damage or entirely defense with a pretty busted skill. Uber Cortex, I'm not really showing much here except for the first fight, because they were all roughly the same. It was deathless, clean, pretty much no threat to my life at any point. It's just thicker, and there's two of them, right? So otherwise it's the same fight and pretty comfy to do, so that was alright. Uber Elder was a little bit challenging for sure. There's just a whole bunch of mechanics you got to dodge, and like I said, the bare minimum does feel like having 100% spell suppress, because you're going to be getting hit by some shit almost guaranteed, and a lot of that shit is spell based. Cutting that in half means that you'll either go from dying, like this shit here, dying in one shot, to being able to take the hit and then recovering. And yeah, other than that, good DPS helps and good playstyle helps, but obviously you're still going to be taking some L's if you're not practicing too much. I'd say the real missing a piece of the puzzle for a lot of these Ubers, after you've got a good build, is just practice. Like, you might have a build capable of doing it. Like, I think this one's capable of doing pretty much all of them. And the tools are there for success. You can do it, but you get in and you just get fucked because everything's happening at once and it's confusing or some shit. It gets a lot better if you practice more and more and learn the mechanics and start getting in sequence with the dodges and the timings and all that. The problem is, some of these are going to be expensive to practice a lot, and you feel like you're wasting your money. So, like Maven, for example, I think I killed her on the second go I tried her, and it was getting better progressively as I was doing it. So this is Uber Maven, and I started to learn where to place the balls better, because I don't like putting it in the center. I think that's a bit messy to do as a not super thick character. Then, you learn how to dodge the Cascade of Pains, you learn how to do the memory phase while under pressure, because I'm not going to lie, the memory phase was definitely, prior to Uber's, a bit of a snooze in the end. When you first came across it, first time you were doing Maven, it was a bit tough to get the memory phase down, and then it became a snooze, like just second nature to know what she was throwing at you and which sequence to do. And then having a bit more pressure against the memory phase when you have to fight a couple extra enemies and still focus on your rotation well enough made it a lot tougher. And then having to dodge Maven's proper serious attacks in the last phase during the memory phase definitely put some pressure onto you. And I messed up the memory plenty of times during the Uber Mavens, and I did like 4 of them or something in the end. Whereas regular Maven, I think I pretty much never mess up memory phase. It does seem easy. So it's just something like, it just does take a bit of practice and holding your nerve against some of these fights, and then they get better. Likewise with Uber Shaper, Uber Elder, both of those get a bit intense, but then once you start learning the dodges and all that, it gets a lot better. Likewise with Uber Eater of Worlds, I think that's one that has a baseline of certain build or gear or requirement, and then you really need to start learning the timings on everything. And once you can start learning timings, the fight becomes a lot more realistic. Whereas to begin with, it feels incredibly bad. This here, I died to the Cascade of Pain, and I think it was only a one-shot because I'm not spell suppress capped. I'm at 95%, but capped with a flask, and it wasn't up. And I think it just went through that suppress, and that's why I died. Because those should not be hitting me for a one-shot, I don't think. As far as the rest of the Uber Maven fight is concerned, if the beam touches you, this beam here, you can't attack as Forbidden Rite because your life pool is used for attacking, so that's pretty scuffed. And it is sometimes a bit hard to avoid since it's wider than usual. And yeah, there's definitely some deaths. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I died plenty to each Uber, while the rest of the game is definitely pretty doable. So the last thing I mentioned was Simulacrum. I did try Simulacrum on the chill version of the build, and that I got to wave 29. I tried one Simulacrum on this non-chill version of the build, got to like wave 27 or something. It's just largely RNG as to what type of shit mods you're going to get, I think, these days. because if I get some really bad mods, like Chaos, Resist, Extra Life, and then have like a Kosis and shit, it's really hard to recover from that type of wave. So I think I can do wave 30, but honestly, not fun enough to keep trying, so maybe I'll do it on another character. Otherwise, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, the build and everything. It was a good build, I loved it, I love playing it, and can recommend it if you can put it together. That said, I've now got a few boss fights for you. The Feared all at once with Height of Hubris, the Hidden all at once, and Uber Cirrus. First time I've ever actually killed him. Fuck that fight. But here you go. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.
At least die with some flair. Mortal flesh is so fallible.
Embrace my misery.
Give yourself to the void.
She didn't die.
Grasp your mortality.
Oh, I was hoping she'd be dead. This is gonna be tough now.
When I'm ready, and not
Why isn't she dead, chat?
Embrace my misery.
She's still not dead? Siri, please.
Resist the assault. Life is so brittle. Feel your life drain away.
Teleport, slam, teleport, slam.
Resist the assault.
Embrace my
It
misery.
is so brittle. Feel your life drain away. Resist the assault.
Gaze together.
Life is so brittle. Grasp your mortality tightly.
Them comboing their slams like that is unethical.
Now resist my entropy. Resist the assault.
Embrace my misery.
Mortal flesh is so fallible.
Can one of these die already? It's so close.
Feel death's pull. Resist the assault. Life is so brittle. Shadow, rise and fight.
Man, that could have been deathless, eh? That's a shame.
Glorious spectacle.
That's a shame that that could have been deathless.
And my prize.
Could have been SSFH survival.
As soon as I have more
Yo,
weapons.
a jewel. 18 splinters, eh? Not bad, not bad. Shit, half an Uber Elder set. That's pretty cool. Man, that could have been deathless. So sad. How's the fucking sustain, though? Oh shit, a bottled faith as well. Holy fuck, dude. We out here making mons. Triple determination? Ah, it's a double. Crit hatred, double pride. Ugh. I mean, crit hatred's always money, right? Okay. What's my armor? Oh, I think still got a little bit. Okay, okay, I'm going in.
Entertain me. Life is so brittle. Grasp your mortality tightly.
You did.
Shadow, rise and fight.
Okay, this is where I possibly die with more projectiles.
Brittle.
If Ulnatal explodes, he busts.
Grasp your mortality tightly.
Yeah, he's busting, isn't he? I'm dead.
A mote of my might.
Gonna do it, dude. I'm too young.
Resist the assault.
Dead.
Mortal flesh is so fallible.
And that's how it's done.
Unexpected, but not unwelcome. Another round will commence as soon as I have more combatants.
He was down there already? Feels fucking good, dude.
Foolish.
Beyond, there's only horror.
God, my MTX is so paid to fucking lose. Visibility is truly trash. It's not even the MTX. Like, there's nothing I can remove to make this better right now.
Glorious flames!
Forbidden Rite isn't any better. I'm gonna try and get rid of the Flame Dash. I feel like that's causing a few issues.
Be silent.
I have seen beyond. Why run? What's the point?
That's nothing.
This world is doomed.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have seen beyond. Why run?
Alright, now we're gonna wait for him to come to us in a nice, friendly, open area, right?
Glorious flames!
We've triggered him, he's moving around. We're gonna be patient, right? I've got patience. I'm a good boy. I love this fight and waiting for it to do its bullshit. And ultimately, will it even make a difference? Wherever we fight him, he's going to fuck the arena up so hard that I can't go anywhere anyway.
The edge of death. My heart
This zone,
races.
this area.
I am alive.
Everlasting fire!
Good start.
Feel the thrill of
The void!
I had no idea where I was going. That was a really good start. Like, it'd be lovely to come back in and get some nice damage going again so I win. Because that was basically the dream poison ramp start, where he went into another phase that was still ramped.
This world is doomed! Be silent. Everlasting fire!
you will long for
Non-existence!
I did. He's about to die me now? He's deep in coal range now, yeah, but we're not going to do that. We're still just trying to finish him.
I have seen beyond everlasting fire.
I agree with Methel.
Oh, getting close to 3 wonderful years. Oh damn, you're doing Cyrus. Sorry, won't bother the 6 portal strategy.
Oh, they're a good one, dude. Yay, I got some money out of it. An Awakener and a Dominance.